This presentation has been prepared as part of the ROMANI Influence curriculum elaborated for the purposes of PALSAM project. Module 4. Entrepreneurial Mindsets for Musicians, developed by JA International Theatre. The idea of musicians as entrepreneurs is one of the oldest defining features of the musical artist since the time of the wandering balladeers who had to, in their itinerant travels, target and create their own audience base in every locale they stopped at, negotiate terms of compensation that was, at the very least, sustainable to them, maintaining their quality of life, and devise performances that were counter to the place and culture they happened to be passing through. One would therefore have expected this to be a well-entrenched idea, both in concept and execution, with wisdom and tricks of the trade handed down over the generations, especially for a traditionally nomadic community such as the Roma. However, in the last 160 years, starting with the advent of the recording industry, the musical market is no longer prominently just a live performance market, but in fact an intricate artistic industrial complex of musical creations being recorded, remixed, rebranded, and released in multiple media for posterity along with tentpole live event explosions. Musicians operating at the highest level of successful exposure will have a body of permanent work in high circulation to chalk up on their resume, which can be built upon or riffed off in live performance tours. The middle-level musicians use live gigs as a way to get enough exposure to get a recording contract, while entry-level musicians devote all their energy to just getting a series of gigs to sustain themselves. The net result is a monstrously multi-level megalith of interwave of corporate interests, networking nicest and calculated global audience demographics, all centered around the monetization of raw musical talent. In other words, there is a definite industry, a capitalist community that extracts a price from those desires of entry and zealously guards its exclusivity. For musicians from traditionally underrepresented communities, such as the Roma, integrating into this exclusive community of musical entrepreneurship presents Herculean obstacles. The aim of this module is to equip them with both the psychological mindset and the socio-cultural and economic know-how, how to become successful musicians with self-sustaining careers. We will use psychological strategies as well as philosophical paradigms from prominent philosophers to provide a motive, core, around which to build up a resilient template for the musicians to achieve their goals. The topics of the module are the following: Introduction to Entrepreneurial Mindset in Music, Historical Evolution of Musicians as Entrepreneurs, and Shifting Dynamics from Live Performances to the Modern Artistic Industrial Complex, Challenges faced by underrepresented communities, examining obstacles for musicians from traditionally underrepresented communities, strategies to overcome exclusivity within the music industry, psychological strategies for success, understanding and implementing psychological resilience in a music career, motivational techniques to sustain creativity and navigate challenges, case studies and practical application, examining successful musicians who embody entrepreneurial mindsets, applying module concepts to real-world scenarios in the music industry. Learning outcomes. Alan Watts' influence on finding identity. Drawing from Alan Watts' teachings, the module aims to help musicians understand and embrace their creative impulses, By examining the socio-cultural forces shaping these impulses, musicians can use their art to challenge societal norms and find their unique niche in the industry. Plato's caves as a consciousness-raising tool. Leveraging Plato's allegory of the cave, the module guides musicians in becoming aware of the origins of their creative impulses. This insight enables them to connect with their audience on a deeper level and understand the transformative power of storytelling in the artistic process. Lacanian's practices for sustainable creativity. Inspired by Jacques Lacan register theory, the module teaches musicians to separate symbolic trapping of power from true artistic intent. This understanding of the socio-linguistic systems at play in the music industry helps in developing sustainable practices and navigating the rites of passage within the industry. Confucian's values for community building. Incorporating Confucius principles, the module emphasizes the importance of moral character, duty, and the balance between individual ambition and social responsibility. Musicians will learn to evaluate their actions in the context of the greater community, fostering a positive sum environment and communal solidarity. In this presentation, we'll explore the entrepreneurial mindset needed to succeed in the music industry. We will discuss key strategies for unlocking success and thriving in a competitive market. To succeed in the music industry, it's crucial to understand the complex landscape of record labels, publishing, and live performances. Embracing the entrepreneurial mindset is essential for navigating this dynamic environment. Entrepreneurs in the music industry must have a keen eye for identifying opportunities in areas such as music production, artist management, and merchandising. This requires a proactive and innovative approach. The entrepreneurial mindset in the music industry empowers creativity and innovation. By fostering an environment that encourages bold ideas and artistic exploration, entrepreneurs can unlock new pathways to success. The idea of musicians as entrepreneurs is one of the oldest defining features of the musical artist since the time of the wandering balladeers who had to, in their itinerant travels, target and create their own audience based in every locale they stopped at, negotiate terms of compensation that was at the very least sustainable to them, maintaining their quality of life, and devise performances that were counter to the place and culture they happened to be passing through. And let's proceed to case studies through philosophy. Alan Watts. Finding your niche, Alan Watts was an English philosopher who combined Oriental teachings with the Western value of individualism. Most of his Zen and Taoist teachings, a significant bulk of which exist in audiobook or video snippet form, available on the internet, deal with the question of nurturing and sustaining artistic flow and the question of identity. Using Buddhist koans, rhetorical puzzles in the form of parables, he urges us to be unrelenting and clear-minded in our pursuit of our own truths. His teachings have carved themselves into 20th century lore. However, for the purposes of this module, we shall be focusing on a late Alan Watts obsession, alienation. He spent a significant amount of thought directing the pan-cosmic reach of Buddhist thought and focus onto the question of individual isolation and what it means to be part of something. His basic philosophy was to understand where one's own creative impulses arouse from, the socio-cultural forces that those impulses encoded, and to then use those same impulses to create art challenge, supported and reacted to the forces that shaped the impulse. This is precisely what art ought to be in the context of marginalized communities, a conduit to processing one's own socio-cultural role and challenging its forms and functions, and eventually finding your own niche. Alan Watts has left us a rich legacy of philosophical inquiries into Western materialism and its isolating effects on human beings, as well as the profoundly morally debilitating loss of meaning that being part of an assembly line system can do. A chunk of his entire dialectic deals with cultivating an awareness of when a system is slowly stripping one of individuality and inuring oneself to a normalized acceptance of power structures. His discourses are carefully composed nuggets on maintaining a constant alertness to when individual morality is slowly subsumed to corporate caprice, and then rediscovering one's own agency as a distinct presence within those structures. This feeds right into the socio-cultural and economic marginalization that stifle the creative impulses of artists from the Roma community and provides a valuable tool to promote resilience against the viciousness of unique as well as blueprint to navigate systems of artistic production without losing one's own artistic identity. Confucius and the musician. Codifying rituals of reward and satisfaction, Confucius was a 6th century BC Chinese savant known for his classic Analects, which sets out the blueprint for an ideal Mandarin and more generally an ideal citizen with one motivic theme, study. He claimed that a study of the classic of literature and history would prepare one with the cognitive maturity for mastering the present. But more significantly, his analectic aphorisms, which could be thought of as a turbocharged version of Polonius' advice to Laertes in Hamlet, have become enshrined in the Chinese notion of duty and citizenship, as well as the right attitude to the individual's role in society. Above all, in accord with the Hamletian character's aphorism, his tome prizes moral character as the highest virtue of man, and invokes the notion of a cosmic harmony, karma, as it is more commonly referred to as the sum total of the good intentions and integrity of the people who make up a community. In other words, the individual is encouraged steadfastly to evaluate the consequences of each move, planned or executed in terms of its overall standing in the grand picture and tapestry of the state and its various organs. It posits a regular drumbeat of attitude and worldviews that aspire to the golden mean, avoiding extremes of action and reaction, and trying to promote a balance between individual ambition and social responsibility. This is precisely what is needed to nurture a positive sum community feeling between artists, each of whom has ambitions of their own, but do need the familial support of communal solidarity to mutually reinforce and augment representation amongst the artistic community, especially in regards to minorities. This balance between the personal and social requires a well thought out calculus of reward and satisfaction, within a worldview that embraces the harmony of collective happiness as much as individual ecstasy. Plato and the musician. Aspirations Plato introduced the Western concept of the idea, the Ur model, the thought experiment, and essentially the protocol to abstract from a bevy of real-life events and deductions, ideal constructs as building blocks to reimagine reality. This protocol is best encapsulated in terms of his eponymous cave, which stands for human mental models. There are shadows in this cave, cast by objects outside, which represent the processing of external reality inside the mind channeled through the senses. The metaphor delves into the possibilities and constraints of mythos, the sense of meaning-making implicit in all storytelling, and the art of forging connections and developing alliances by sharing a tale, a collective romance of sound, fury and movement and gesture, with horns and drums. In effect, one could interpret Plato's cave as an artist's lab where reality is melded into shadows that mutate and change with the light of imagination and conjure up phantasms and ghosts more vivid than external reality. It is the fertile workhouse and its creations to which the artist invites the audience and the world at large. In other words, Plato's cave is an incisive consciousness raising to imbue artists with a sense of awareness of where their impulse comes from, where their stories lie, and the audience with whom their stories must be jointly experienced. Lacan and the musician. Sustainable practices for transgressive creators. Jacques Lacan was a pioneering French psychoanalyst whose primary contribution to the understanding of human perception and cognition could be encapsulated in his Lacanian register theory, a highly structured model of human perception, which labels the imagination, Plato's cave, in terms of a socio-linguistic system designed by consensus amongst the mainstream that, by construct, forced certain sections out. Perception of reality was therefore conducted in a symbolic register where certain symbols and labels were given power by social cultural laws, lending them an aura of sacrosanctness. In the scheme of musical production, this would be constituted by the rights of trial that every artist had to undergo in terms of low-paid gigs, hustling for recognition, all symbols of industrial hegemony, till finally the system would open itself up and reel them in, and they would be absorbed in the symbolic world. Lacan provides a delightful contextualization of how to separate the symbolic trappings of power from the real artistic intent and motive. Alexander and the musician. Legacy's Alexander is an odd one out amongst all the philosophers mentioned here. Yet, he is one of the few people who had embodied the rawest implementation of his philosophical trainings by Aristotle, who was one of the first Western thinkers to compose a book on secular ethics, whose premise was that the highest moral virtue is that which can be implemented as a policy or legislatively and service human joy. Alexander took this to heart, single-mindedly carving the legacy of his name and discerning that the only global joys that a man could have experienced have been those of a triumphant memory that lasts, an imprint that lingers long after the man himself has gone the way of all flesh. Legacy is a goal worth having for an artist as it automatically helps them focus on building up a coherent body of work that lasts, gives them a blueprint and a roadmap with a long-standing direction, and encourages the build-up of communal solidarity. For only when long-term goals are conceived does the notion of a communal support system start to emerge, as each artist becomes aware of the amount of cooperation and goodwill needed to build up a corpus of their performance. So, long-term vision is the key to generating the value of collaboration, even for highly self-reliant musicians, and will go a long way in generating a community feeling. Further, it actually makes artists question their core assumptions about art and the standards they live by till their raw idealizations are purified into a working battleground. Case study exploration. Theme 1, Alan Watts, Finding Your Niche. Theme 2, Confucius, Knowing Yourself, Hearing More and Speaking Less. Consider your actions. Plato, Aspirations. What's behind the myth, the symbol, and the ideas? Lacan, Understanding the System. Break it. Alexander the Great, Legacy. Think about how you and your art can give humankind a roadmap even when you are no longer living. Practice. Instruction. Reflect on the present. Take a moment to contemplate your current life situation. Consider your personal and professional aspects, relationships, and overall well-being. Write down key elements that define your present moment. Consider the past. Reflect on significant moments, milestones, challenges, and achievements from your past. Think about how these experiences have shaped who you are today. Identify key themes or recurring patterns in your life journey. Identify themes. Based on your reflections, identify overarching themes that emerge. These could be related to personal growth, relationships, career passions, or any other aspect significant to you. Write down these themes as they will form the foundation of your roadmap. Create a visual representation. Choose a format for your roadmap. This could be a timeline, mind map, or any visual representation that resonates with you. Use symbols, colors, or different sections to represent the themes you identified. Map out significant moments. Begin mapping out key moments in your life along the timeline or within your chosen format. Include both positive and challenging experiences. Connect these moments to the themes they align with. Reflect on transformation. Consider how certain experiences or moments have transformed you. Reflect on the lessons learned and personal growth achieved. Note down any pivotal points that have had a profound impact on your life journey. Look to the future. While this exercise primarily focuses on the present and past, take a moment to think about where you envision yourself in the future. Consider what themes you want to emphasize and what aspirations you have for your ongoing journey. And at the end, finalize your roadmap. Review and refine your visual representation, ensuring it captures the essence of your life journey. Consider sharing your roadmap with others, if comfortable, to gain insights and perspectives. And reflect on the exercise. Take a moment to reflect on the process. What insights did you gain from creating your roadmap? How do the themes resonate with your sense of self? Exercise 2. Utilize the process of creating a vision board to enhance and inform the development of your module. This exercise aims to visually represent the goals and aspirations you have for your module, facilitating a creative and focused approach. Follow the 10 steps. First, reflect on module development goals. Second, identify key themes for the module. Third, gather visual inspirations. 4. Choose a medium. Decide on the medium for your vision board. This could be a physical board, a digital collage, or any format that resonates with your creative process. Fifth, integrate module components. Incorporate visuals that represent the various components of your module. This could include images related to psychological empowerment, philosophical paradigms, and the impact of historical figures like Alan Watts or Plato. 6. Add practical applications. Integrate visuals that symbolize the practical applications and real-world scenarios covered in your module. Use images that convey collaboration, resilience, and success in the music industry. 7. Incorporate colors and affirmations. Use colors that evoke the emotions you want participants to feel during the module. Incorporate affirmations or key statements that encapsulate the essence of your teaching philosophy. 8. Personalized and connect with participants. Add personal touches that create a connection with the participants. Consider elements that resonate with the experiences of musicians from underrepresented communities and foster a sense of belonging. 9. Review and reflect. Step back and review your vision board. Reflect on how the visual representation aligns with your module goals. Ensure that the themes and visual convey a coherent and inspiring message. And 10. Inform module development. Use insights gained from the vision board creation to inform and enhance your module development. Consider how the visual representation can guide your approach in fostering an entrepreneurial mindset among musicians. Cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset is essential for unlocking success in the dynamic and competitive music industry. By embracing innovation, resilience, and strategic thinking, individuals can thrive and make a lasting impact. Thank you for your attention.